Hey guys, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is DFree, and for this one, it's going to be a little bit of a quick hitter for what I'm expecting to have happen in Legends over the next couple of weeks / month, when I'll expect the next LF / Ultras, and I'll also show you some in-game dates for when some of the Cell-based content, Cell Saga-based content, is going to be expiring and ending. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, be sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, like goal 500, and let me know in the comments what you think about the things that we are mentioning for today. First thing I'm going to say is I think the Cell Saga campaign is not really a full-on campaign. When they did the preview a couple of weeks ago for Gohan and Cell, I did a video and I talked about in that video some of the same things here. Long story short, I said, hey, Ultras typically come out a month spaced out between them, like every month basically, or a month and a half if things ruin the schedule. For example, we've seen Anniversary kind of ruin the scheduling and push things out to where it's a little bit later. We've seen Battle Hour push it to where it was a month and a half. So we're in an interesting position because on the heels of the Anniversary, before and after Anniversary, the game's typically pretty dry. They don't typically put out a lot of content. So what that means is that the earliest we would have seen another Ultra is the end of the month, this month, August, the end of August. That's the date I threw out. I mean, I threw out actually technically the middle of August, but I doubted it, right? It's technically possible if we were to, for example, if the Cell Saga quote-unquote campaign is not done, then yeah, the Ultra wouldn't be probably at the end of the month. It would be in the middle of the month because we already got the LF at the end of last month, which is, again, also off the schedule because LF's typically released in the middle of the month, just to kind of explain how the schedule gets all out of whack when we have these celebrations. Anyway, so that being said, I don't really think that's the case. I think they're done. The Majin Buu Saga campaign, I want to kind of show you kind of what happened with this. So they started on April 1st with the release of Pui Pui. And they followed that up for basically a month and a half, releasing characters and Zenkais and stuff like that. And leading up to the anniversary, right before the anniversary and stuff like that. I guess pre-anniversary with the Shallot update. Anyway, so that was a month and a half thing that was basically deemed to be a full-on campaign, and at that time they told us that they would do more saga-based content. I have to go back and check the exact verbiage that they used, whether they advertised it as being full-on campaigns, like literally like big celebration type deals, or if they're just like, hey, yeah, we'll put more saga-based content. But either way, I think what's happening for the rest of the year is we're just gonna see these episodes, whatever episode, these episodes here, these sagas get character releases. I think that's what's going to wind up happening. I think it's way too early to call Legends Festival, but just way early prediction, it might just be Ultra Gogeta 4. And if that's the case, around late October, November, we're going to start seeing some of these GT sagas get some buffs, maybe Shadow Dragon Saga, whatever. But as for now, I think this is actually, every time I'm recording, somebody has to just be outside my house. Anyway, I think now is actually a really good time for them to do something that I think most people aren't really going to love. Dragon Ball Saga. This is, for the record, this will take a ton of work. This, dude, looking at this roster, there's some like halfway decent characters here, but since they never really committed to this, this is going to take a lot of work. I think that some people in the dev team really like this team. The original series is awesome. It starts off kind of slow. There's some like badly aged Roshi jokes in there, but I think the original series is amazing. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Anyway, my favorite in the series, actually. So I think that there's some fans of this series, and I think that King Piccolo is a character in particular that is actually very important to the game. And the reason I say this is because there aren't a lot of characters that have this blend of powerful tag groups that you can really impact the game with, like Regen and Powerful Opponent. I mean, there's a decent number of characters that have that, like, you know, like Zamasu or whatever, but that is a really good combination. And when we think about producing characters, I think one thing that needs to be considered is, can that character build and help build out multiple teams, right? And so I think King Piccolo dropping as like an Ultra would actually be really impactful for the game, and he could actually really improve one of those teams, right? Or both of those teams, obviously. Now, why would I jump all the way to Dragon Ball Saga, you may ask? Well, this doesn't mean a ton, but it is something. Master Roshi's training. So I want to throw this out there, do it again. This doesn't mean everything. This isn't the be all end all. Like this is Master Roshi and he's training you. That is literally the most generic thing they could do. It only gets a little bit more generic if they say King Kai training. Like it's literally Master Roshi. That's what he does. So this isn't anything like concrete. But I have a feeling that this does mean something, and I do think that this is where we are going next. Also, I do want to throw out there the slight, ever so slight chance that we do get some sort of collaboration with character releases for the upcoming Sandland movie. I don't know if they'll actually do it, but there is technically a campaign coming on. I don't know if they're going to give us a character. I'd doubt it. Odds are super duper slim, but there's also a possibility. So let's also take a look at the cell-based stuff here. They didn't give us the be-all, end-all climactic characters. They didn't give us Super Perfect Cell, which is the Zenkai buffed Cell, you know, whenever he comes back from dying and blah, 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 gets stronger because Saiyan Cell, blah, blah, blah. And Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. They actually gave us a Super Saiyan 1 Gohan, which was our first one of that from the Cell Saga, by the way. We didn't have one of those. So they didn't give us the be-all, end-all. There's also like so much content from the Cell Saga. If I pull up the Cell Saga like I did in another video, you would see that they could really just redo this entire arc. they could literally take anything from here. Armor Goku, yeah, let's redo that. Oh, let's take Instant Transmission Goku, let's redo that. Gohan, like I said, redo that. Like they could take any damn thing from this arc. Final Flash Vegeta, there's so much they could do here. I just don't think this is it. I think this is the precursor. I think the legit not Majin Buu, Cell Saga campaign will be later on. It's just kind of sketchy though, right? Because they had already put out a Cell character earlier this year and then decided to put out another Cell character again. 2 perfect form / second form, I guess, because the second one has that final counter cells, right? And then they also Zenkai awoken another Cell, which is perfect Cell here. So it's just really, really weird with what they're doing. But with the Majin Buu Saga campaign, I do want to throw out the precursor for them that before their actual celebration, actually several months before, they did do the Tien and Buu character releases as well. And Vegito is a bit pushing it because he's the anniversary last year. That's literally like 10 months difference. But anyway, actually those guys were probably late last year too, the Sparkings. So anyway, they did have a precursor. So what that means to me is that the Cell Saga campaign, this may just be the precursor. This may be the end of it because they didn't really bill it as being some sort of huge deal. There's no guarantee we're going to get anything else. In fact, if you look at this, the dates for this stuff is it's starting to fall off. If I push us over to my computer, the stuff for this event is all pretty much ending. The banner, I guess this is just the step-up version, right? It's going to transfer to just the regular summon banner. The step-up portion is leaving in 4 days. This popped up because Cell, I guess, it came back, and that's ending in 5 days. Nice, instead of just giving us another Legends Rising. Anyway, Mega Rising, excuse me. They upgraded it. Again, Sandland Saga campaign pops up. It's going to end on the 18th, so there's a little bit of time before that even really is a thing. This ends on the 16th, so there's going to be an update the week of the 16th. Without even looking at it, this is going to get replaced. Cell Games ends on the 16th, so that week, that day, 16th is going to be a big day for the game. There's going to be a full-on new celebration popping up. Well, I don't know if celebration is the right word, because I don't know how big it'll really be, because we're still on the heels of Anniversary. And some of the stuff is just going to end before then, like 8-9 here. That doesn't mean that this won't get replaced for another week with something else, right? That's also possible. And then other stuff here. Oh yeah, here's the banner. The banner is going to be up until the 31st of this month, so the end of this month. But that's okay because banners typically last for a super duper long time. A month time, technically, in total. The co-op here ends on the 23rd, which is the following week, right? It's the following week after the 16th, yeah. So this one's actually here for a little bit longer. But this also is kind of weird because the other one before this was a 1 week period, and this one's a 3 week period. And what's kind of happening here, I think, is because this has a free character in it. But they've already given us a free character, a couple summonable characters. The only thing they haven't really given us some a Zenkai or 2 Zenkais, I think. Anyway, technically it's been like 2 size Zenkais, right? Because 17 popped up like in the anniversary, but he was for this. Like, it was very apparent, or it's very apparent now in hindsight, that 17 Zenkai was for this. He was really out of place in the anniversary, I guess, because there was some Android stuff, but still, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, I think they're mostly done with this. All these events and everything is kind of ending. And I think that since it's kind of a lull period, and we're on the heels of a Vegeta Blue release, I think that now actually may be the best time to just get out of the way something they probably don't expect to sell like crazy. The original series is not truly popular outside of Japan. It's very popular in Japan. But I think that is something that they would probably have billed as like something that they could do when they want to get it out, would be around the period where they don't expect to make an exorbitant amount of money. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why that fits into that bill there, because it would be easy for them to just spend a month and a half on that, like they did with the Buu Saga, give a bunch of Zenkais, give some new characters, new equips and stuff, and then also tape it off with an Ultra that they could sell pretty well, that will be on some good teams, like I said, King Piccolo, and call it a day. It could also be something like an Ultra Kid Krillin, right? No, Kid Goku, obviously, but I think it would be Piccolo if they had to choose. Well, Kid Goku would be the LF, because it just makes a lot of sense. These are things we don't have, and that they will eventually do, and they also are not going to sell super well, and so they can slide it into this period, like I said, where they're probably not expecting to see much. So, outside of Dragon Ball Saga, outside of Sandland as a, like, super duper stone throw chance, I guess, that would be really cool, though. That would be really cool. I just don't expect it. It's too different, but it would be really, really cool. It's a Toriyama property. That's the only reason, like, and also like the same people that, you know, like Shueisha, like there is some through lines there, but like, I don't know. And even Dokkan doesn't have a collab with something that's not actually Dragon Ball, right? I don't know. But outside of that, what else could they do? So on the heels of Anniversary, I don't know that there is a ton of great celebrations to put up now. And then the question also becomes, do you want to do a fully fledged celebration? Do you want to do back-to-back celebrations? What's the idea? Because the reality is, in August, we have 3 months to burn, 2 months to burn here before they need to start doing their pre-Legends Festival releases. You know how every time there's a new team, a new character, they want to build a team around them, right? So they spend like a month prior to that kind of dropping character releases or Zenkais, and that's why we always know what's coming, like in celebrations. It's like, oh yeah, this character's releasing, because why else would they do X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third, right? It's because we already know what they're planning when it comes to, oh, you want to see, like they do this all the time with GT, for example. Oh, GT's gonna totally get a celebration. Here's 3 Zenkais and 6 new characters. Like, it's like, well, okay. Clearly the big release is a GT character, you know? So anyway, there's still a couple of months time prior to when they would start doing that build up. So I think though, when we hit that second, third week of this month, when those events start expiring, we will see what is kind of going to be their next idea. And the last thing I'll cover is when some of these rarities are going to pop up. With what I was saying being the case, I'm actually not super duper sure of when the next Ultra/LF will release. Like I've said, Ultras come out in a month, typically at the end of the month, like the 30th, literally almost to the day, 28th, 30th. And then there was a couple of times with Rose and Vegito Blue where they popped up in the middle of the month. The problem with the middle of the month in the teen days is that that's typically when the LF characters release. And so since VB popped up in the middle of the month, we saw Cell pop up at the end of the month. So I don't know what the exact literal schedule is, but that's kind of what I'm saying, that they need a down month. They need a month where they could just put some stuff out, maybe a bunch of free characters, maybe just a bunch of rerun banners, just to get their damn schedule back in order. This is what happens with celebrations inevitably every time. And they always do this, by the way. They always have a down period. Anyway, so ultimately, though, I do think the earliest, like I said, we will see an Ultra is at the end of the month, period. If it's not then, it could be the middle of next month or even as late as the end of next month as well. I actually wouldn't really be surprised if it was the end of next month because, like I said, all the factors of them needing to build out a new tag or new episode, also needing to get their schedule back in order, etc. In terms of an LF character, When would that be? Well, technically, an LF character could pop up like literally in like, what, 2 weeks, a week and a half? That's totally possible. That's definitely on the table, by the way. Do not discount that they just basically say, here's consecutive LF releases, because that also does help them get back on schedule with at least having the LFs in the middle of the month. That is also definitely on the table. It's just like I said, if that LF pops up and it's like, it pops up in that time slot, that's going to be when some of these events are still going, but they're kind of expiring. I can't see it being a Cell Saga character. If it's Cell/Android Saga character, then why are these events expiring? Are they just going to revamp them? Are they going to run them again? I don't really know. But what we could see is that character could wind up being for the next, like, for example, like it could just be Kid Goku, right? And it's like, well, damn, clearly Dragon Ball Saga is next. You know what I'm saying? So other campaigns, we already have Majin Buu Saga. There's obviously GT stuff. I like I said, I think GT stuff is probably earmarked for the end of the year if the next release is a GT Ultra. And so there's not really a ton left. I mean, there's Saiyan Saga they could also do. I think Saiyan Saga, though, is something that they might decide to try to hold on to a little bit longer, because I think with Saiyan Saga, you could actually, just like some of the other stuff, I think with Saiyan Saga, you can actually remake some of these characters and be really successful with this. But yeah, you could do this all over too. Like, even the newer characters, you just do it all over. And I think they could be more successful. This could sell better. So I'm not so sure what the idea is. Because, for example, they could do like a tag Goku and Piccolo and all that stuff. So this might, I don't really know that this is what they do next, actually. I'll leave it to you guys. What do you think? Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.